Got my legal hustle, welcome to the trap. I can blow a stack, bet I make it back. You can hit my line if you need a track. But we can't even talk if it ain't about the bag.
What's going on, y'all? It's the kid, J Nolan here. Now, of course, all year, everybody's been talking about Nick Cannon. He's been popping up left and right. I mean, the last couple of years, excuse me. But the past year has been a real big conversation because it seems like he's been overdrive in having kids with different women. Of course, everybody's done their think pieces and all of that stuff. I'm not here to do none of that, but a video clip of Akon in an interview actually just surfaced online where he was basically saying that he taken up for Nick Cannon, saying he's rich, he has the resources, he's out there grinding, he doesn't actually need to spend no time with these kids. And he basically put himself in the same position saying, I do the same thing. So I can't disagree with what he's saying. What I want to do is actually watch the clip with y'all, and I want to watch the clip of Vivica Fox and her show where they had the single mother with the son who was basically taking care of the other kids, and just talk about parenting as a whole, talk about the absentee fathers that are one in the household somewhat, and the absentee fathers that are nowhere to be found, and just the overall effects that it can have on kids. Now, it's not always the same. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Everybody's situation will be different. Everyone's mental fortitude is different. So if it don't apply, you know what I mean, you can definitely feel free to educate me on your experience in the comments, but we're not going to be here running no disrespect. But I want to run this Akon clip with y'all real quick. So this is going to be about 2 minutes. I'm going to probably be small in the corner as I play this, but let's get into it, man.
Do you agree, like Nick Cannon and his spreading of his seed?
100%. I agree with him 1,000%.
Oh, but no.
That's how life is supposed to be.
No.
Why not?
Because
he's rich.
No, but this is
no.
See,
hold on,
wait.
Let me finish.
Okay, go on.
He's rich. He's responsible.
Is he?
Yes, he takes care of everyone else's children.
But this is the
and the baby mothers with it, and they hurt for nothing, and they live comfortably.
No, but what about the kids though?
What about them?
Because this is what I mean about men, right? You guys think that just having kids and giving money is enough, but what about the time?
No, he's there for every one of them. I got 9. And I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital.
To raise my kids.
No, but this is...
Hold on.
Go
to be
on.
Responsible.
Yeah.
To be understanding. To protect their mother. To give hand with their father and assist with family planning. And to be responsible adults.
Okay, but what about
my job ain't to be doing all that extra stuff, that all these holidays and recitals and all that. Now, guess what? While I'm taking care of my responsibility to make sure the family has a roof over their head and food, if I have the time to do that and show love, yes, I will do that. But my responsibility is to make sure that they grow up responsible, strong, and become a real, input to society.
Yeah, but you're not.
All right, y'all. So that's the clip. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all my feedback on this. I cannot agree with Akon on his stance. Now, why is that? For me, I have a good relationship with my pops, man. I did not grow up in his home. Like, that's not my primary residence. You know what I'm saying? I lived with my mother my whole life. However, I did see my father on weekends. I spent summers with him. I spent holidays with him. You know what I mean? We had a very good, productive relationship as father and son throughout life. But the thing about it is, I was able to learn from him. You know what I'm saying? I was able to see how he did things. And when I say learn, I didn't always learn in a positive aspect. I learned from his mistakes as well. We also had things that we connected on. Like, I grew up bowling. That was something that he did. He passed that down to me. I used to do a youth league on weekends, right? He would take me to do the bowling league, and he would watch me, and he would give me pointers, and he would give me guidance on how to improve my game. And although somebody like Akon does not believe that that is important, it is, because that was one of the ways that we had a bond growing up. That's one of the ways that I began to know him more as a man and as a leader as a child. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to walk like him. I wanted to talk like him. I wanted to act like him. That was my hero. You know what I'm saying? But when you completely erase that presence out of a household and just say that you can send money, y'all are not going to have that connection. You're not going to have any type of examples, and you're going to have a lack of positive or negative reinforcement on your actions, because a father calling you over the phone to chastise you about something is not the same as him being there to possibly witness it or get firsthand accounts. You can give him the nuance of the situation if he's willing to listen. All of those things play a part, you know what I'm saying? Even having a balance between the mother and the father to have a back and forth discourse about how we're gonna handle things. Yeah, again, you can do these types of things over the phone and via text, but it's very impersonal. It just lacks the depth that it takes to do things in the manner of keeping the child best interests at heart. You know what I mean? Because if you're always busy, if you're on the road, if you're doing this, you're buying countries, you're doing this, you're doing that, how much capacity do you have at the end of the day by the time you talk to your kids to really hone in and focus on what's going on with them? You're really trying to get off the phone so that you could get a couple hours of sleep, or get the hell up off the phone so you can continue conducting your business. Now you compound that and multiply that by 9 kids in Akon's situation, or however many damn kids Nick Cannon has. He talking about he exhausted, he tired, all this stuff. But this is the situation that you created for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you're only going to create a worse situation for yourself, because somebody out of that family is going to feel like you wasn't here, you wasn't helping us. Yeah, you gave us a home, but that ain't enough. Prime example, I have hella siblings, right? For the majority, all of us didn't require like no high amount of attention. But I have a brother. He was a little bit more on the attention deprived side. You know what I'm saying? He was diagnosed with ODD, which is basically some shit where young kids become defiant at a young age. You know what I mean? Now, most kids, for the most part, you tell them not to do something, they're going to try it anyway. But that became like part of his personality as he grew up. He needed a little bit more attention. He required a little bit more guidance. Not here to criticize my dad. He didn't have the capacity to do that because he had to hustle. He had to do different things. And it's a deeper story with my brother that I'll maybe talk about another day. He grew up, you know what I'm saying? And as he got into his teens, he started missing out on school. He started going out, joining, you know, not necessarily gang, but hanging with, you know, the rougher crowd. He got himself in trouble. He tried to break in somebody's car, all of these different types of things. He found himself in jail, found himself on probation, found himself in a child program where they had to supervise and monitor him. Now, to this day, he's a much more productive young man. He's kind of found his own way, and that was through addressing his traumas, addressing some of the neglect that not only my father provided, but, you know, like I said, there's a deeper situation because my dad is not actually his biological father. His biological father didn't play a role in his life until he turned maybe 16 years old or something like that. So there's a lot of different dynamics that are at play when you start talking about fatherhood, man. So just because you have a few dollars to provide a household and food and shelter, that does not make you a stand-up parent. That means that you're doing what you're supposed to do at the bare minimum, but there's a lot more that goes into that. Now, everybody doesn't have the capacity to do everything for everyone, but we're just talking about basic dynamic. Now, I also want to watch this clip of Vivica Fox on this show that she was on. I don't know if this was years ago or what. It's been surfacing online. She's trying to go into hiding because it came out after she tried to criticize Joe Budden when her skeletons ain't so hidden. There's this young man who went on his mother took him on this talk show, and she forced him to basically raise her other children or his siblings. But he was a young man, a child himself, right? So much so that she introduced him to drinking at a young age. When he was 13, he got introduced to alcohol, and he's become an alcoholic since then. She doesn't want to accept accountability for treating him like a man at such a young age. He didn't have the ability to have the childhood that he wanted or needed. He talks about how she's in return for him taking care of those other children, she spoiled him and treated him a little bit better, you know what I mean, gave him the latest kicks, clothes, you know what I mean, kept him up to par on that end. And she thought that it would make kids, you know, be more friendly with him. But he was like, yo, a lot of them wanted to be friends with me because of what I had, but they weren't trying to be genuinely my friends. So you kind of set me up on a double-edged sword. I didn't have no male guidance. I didn't have no male presence in the household. I had to take care of my younger siblings. I had to be an adult before I was even an adult. Basically, you introduced me to alcoholism. You did all of these things, but now that I'm older and I lack motivation and I'm depressed, you have no sympathy for me. You want to take me on a talk show where they're going to berate me. So I'm going to play these 2 clips of this young man telling his story. We're going to talk about how the talk show host treated him and his mother treated him. And it just goes to show, man, like, the dynamic is very much the same, you know what I mean? Because anytime you're in a single parent household of that sort, if your parent doesn't have no time for you, it just has very deep effects on a young person. And y'all parents, y'all should know that because y'all went through this stuff, but y'all continue passing down generational trauma that you had to carry onto your kids. They do the same thing to their kids if they're not willing to break the cycle. And you wonder why we got so many messed up people in the world. You wonder why people go off the deep end and do extreme things. You wonder why people may even unalive themselves when the pressure gets too much, because they don't know how to handle it, and they've been dealing with so much for so long that it just comes to a head. Anyway, let's get into the clips. And now Vivica Fox want to talk about something. I wish I could block all you mother evers. Y'all want to bring up my past. And now she want to do the woe is me thing on the internet when people start talking about what she did. I think this is comical. Not his situation, but Vivica in particular, comical. Now, y'all see how they treated this young man. Now, I can't say that, everything that he's going through is his mother's fault. I think there is a level of personal perseverance that you have to display just in life in general to overcome the obstacles ahead of you. However, there's so much generational trauma that this boy is dealing with. He's been dealing with it with alcohol since he was 13 years old. We don't know how old he is in this clip, but I presume he's in his 20s. So that means that he's got almost 10 years struggling with alcohol since an adolescent, since a child, since a barely teenager. That's something that the majority of us in this world do not understand and cannot deal with. There are a lot of people that start drinking at a young age. It's also different to be an alcoholic at a young age. You might drink socially with your friends, but that don't mean that you do it all the time. It doesn't mean that you drink in 40s and multiples. And his mother sat there and took absolutely no accountability for any of the role that she played. She praised him so much about how he used to take the kids to school, get them dressed, take responsibility for them, and all of a sudden he changed. Why do you think he changed? At some point you got to tap out and be like, these motherfucking kids is yours, they not mine. I didn't lay down and have these motherfuckers. I'm not supposed to take care of them. But she wanted to continue to impose that on him because she didn't have a man around and she had to work. That's BS, man. And there's so many single mothers out there that don't use that as an excuse, don't make their kids go through this type of thing. So you can't act like you did the right thing. But it's just funny to me because these are the things that children have to deal with. And as you see, he had an absent father. Now, what if Akon was his dad? You know what I'm saying? Clearly, it wouldn't have helped because she gave him all of the material things that he needed, but he didn't have no emotional support at home. The same thing that Akon is talking about subjecting his children to, or maybe he wants to leave their mothers to do, right? But if you ain't even seeing to it that it's getting done, how do you know? So it's just like we just be passing around bottom of the barrel mentality. No matter how much money or success people have in the black community, that is what we're forced to deal with. And I'm not saying that this is exclusive to black people, because you've seen them white ladies and Asian ladies ain't had no sympathy for him either. But that's how it is in the real world, man. We produce kids in these households. We show them the worst. We show them our ass to kiss. You know what I'm saying? We don't hear them out. We don't treat them as people. We don't allow them to have an opinion on nothing. We send them out into the world, and then you got ladies like that judge or that attorney that was on that panel who don't give a fuck about your kids, so they're gonna be quick to put them into the goddamn poverty to prison pipeline. You know what I'm saying? He gonna go out and possibly do something drastic. These are the people that's gonna be prosecuting your child when he does something, because the world don't care. At the bare minimum, you will want your mother or your father to care about your emotional intelligence, care about your well-being, care about how you feel internally. But if you can't get it from there, where are you gonna get it from? Now, this video is much longer than a lot of my other content, and I know it kind of veers away from music business and all that. Ain't nothing to talk about valid in that space right now. We're here to talk about some real stuff, and I'm gonna be talking more about real stuff, social, cultural issues on this channel, because I just feel like it's a lot of stuff that I just, in my real life, I be having an opinion about, or I be seeing it and I be like, man, these niggas tripping. But I try to keep it separate from this channel. But I feel like the real deal of who J Nolan is as an entrepreneur, as a music educator, as a person, as a human being that has an opinion and a perspective, I'm going to start letting y'all see all of those layers on this channel moving forward, okay? Doesn't mean that the music content is going to stop, but we got to talk about something deeper than that, because at the end of the day, some of these people are going to be our future musicians, our future entertainers, and they're going to be bringing their loads of issues and their problems and their trauma with them and imposing that on the world. And A lot of times they get excused because they may be able to produce a nice song that make you dance, but that person is bruised, that person is tarnished, that person is broken. And if y'all ain't into healing them, then what are we supposed to do with them? Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments, man. Be sure to like and share this video. If anything I said in this video inspired you, struck a chord in you, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's necessary, but if you feel led to, go ahead and hit me with a little super thanks or something, man. But more than anything, subscribe to the channel if this is your first time seeing me. Be sure to hit the post notification bell to get all updates, and I will see you guys on the next one, all right? Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.